All right, we'll get going. Welcome to the latest press conference at LIV Golf Jeddah 2024. I'm delighted to be welcomed by Scott Vincent of Ironheads GC and Kieran Vincent of Legion 13 GC. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. Who's who?
You are Scott.
Oh.
But if you didn't know, they are brothers. I think let's get going and just talk about how the last few weeks have gone, of being back playing together on the same tour, and how it's been playing against some of the best players in the world here. Scott.
Yeah, incredible. Seems like I can't get rid of this guy, so whichever tour I go on, he seems to follow and do pretty good. So that's annoying at times, but it's at least from a family perspective, it gives us something to talk about. So yeah.
And Kieran.
Yeah, I think it's fun. It's enjoyable. It's cool to travel the world and do some pretty cool things together. And so, yeah, I've enjoyed the experience so far, and hopefully it continues to be like that.
And Scott, you qualified, or you secured your spot for 2024 in Jeddah last year in October. And Kieran, you qualified through the promotions event not too far from here in Abu Dhabi. Do you have any specific memories of those moments, of when you secured your spots individually, but also when you found out your brother was going to be playing too?
Yeah, I remember when Kieran was doing the qualifier. Of course, the time zones completely flipped over, so it was about 4 or 5 in the morning at Denver time, and so my wife loves checking the scores all throughout the night, and I like sleeping. So when I got towards the end and it was very close, she's like waking me up and like, you gotta watch. So we actually phoned a friend in Singapore, and they had us on FaceTime, and we were able to watch Kieran play his last few holes. And yeah, talk about an exciting tournament where there was just so much action and so much on the line, and yeah, could have gone any way. And for it to be it was a 3-person playoff for 2 spots. Yeah. Just super exciting. I think really cool for golf, and what a great way to start the promotions event for LIV, and I think it's going to be a great success.
And Kieran, your memories of when you found out you were going to, or when you qualified through the playoff, what were the first emotions going through your mind?
I think I was tired emotions more than anything. I mean, it was it seemed like a very long day, but kind of flew by at the same time. I mean, just kind of wrapping your head around what just happened and what is to come. I think we're just to come some of the biggest things, but also, obviously putting in perspective just that my game was able to shape up that week. So it was awesome. Gives me encouragement for what is to come over the next couple of months. And so, yeah, just excited the fact that it flipped in my favor. But, yeah, as Scott said, it could have gone anyway. So we're just super grateful to be out here.
Were you nervous?
Depends who's asking.
And final one from me. What's the dynamic like between you two during a tournament week? How competitive you guys are, or are you just cheerleading just for each other?
What would you like it to be?
Whatever you say.
What writes the story better?
You tell us.
Why don't you go for this one?
Well, he hasn't challenged me in ping pong yet, so...
Not much of a challenge, that's why.
I guess especially being on different teams, does that add an element of competitiveness to you?
It gives us a break from each other, because sometimes it's a bit much. But
I wouldn't say we're too competitive, the fact that we want to wring each other's necks. I think that kind of happened in the early years of our life, and I think we've gotten to a stage now where necks have been wrung enough, and we're just out here to support each other the best we can. So whether we're on different teams or whatever it might be, I think family trumps everything, and so the fact that we can be out here, be one family, I think that kind of steers us in a way to motivate and help each other the best we can.
Do you believe that, Joy?
Well, your scores have been showing that.
Fair point.
I'll hand over to Mike.
Well, I actually was going to ask that because last 3 starts, obviously you guys have finished in the same position each of the tournaments. How do you explain that? Just kind of a brotherly connection, right?
We don't want the family to have favorites, so we try and play it equal, and so they can cheer for both of us knowing that we're going to finish the same. So it's been good so far.
Kieran?
Nailed it. Nailed it, yeah.
Scott, can you just take us back to last year, going into here at Jeddah, and kind of your mindset, knowing that there was a lot on the line that week for you, and how you kind of dealt with it throughout the week, the pressure?
Yeah, we always try and treat every single week pretty much the same. We don't want to elevate something higher than it needs to be, because it just adds unnecessary pressure on things that we can't control. Like, of course we know what we would like, but how much of that can we control? Not very, very little. So we just kind of came back to, it's what we had practiced all year. It's just trying to be present, trying to be in the moment, trying to learn something. You know, every week's an opportunity to do that, and that week probably more so than any other. Like, can we really, really stay present this week? Can we really just focus on what's in front of us? Can we be fully engaged in the shot? Can we not get caught up in the results? Because that's what everyone's preaching. That's what, you know, all these interviews were about. Oh, you're in this position. Da, 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 da. It's like, that's great. You know, that's for everyone else. You know, but for me, like, what's the best I can do, and what's going to help me play the best? It's just being present, being right there, being grateful for this opportunity. You know, like, how cool is this that 10 years ago we were in Zimbabwe playing golf together on a, you know, random golf course, just having a great time, and 10 years down the road there's two of us on the best tour in the world, or one of the best tours in the world, right next to each other, competing and encouraging each other on. Like, I mean, it's, in a way, it sounds like a dream. Like, it's so cool that this is what we get to do, and our families and friends get to follow that and support us. So we've got so much to be thankful for, and being out here is certainly a huge plus to both of us, and we just want to use this opportunity to just become better people and train ourselves and what we're working on and the people we're becoming. So yeah, you know, last year this time was incredible week. I learned so much, and I get to do it again this week.
Scott, Kieran, you were here. You were here cheering on your brother. What was that like?
I remember we got asked as reserves to do teach some guys some golf inside the big marquee tent over there on the 18th. And so I was getting close to when Scott was finishing, because I was watching the guys come down 18, kind of peering one head back, and all of a sudden I was like, "Hey guys, I gotta go. Like, I gotta see what's going on." Like, because I heard so many rumors about, you know, the little stretch down the end there. And so to really kind of see the shot coming down 18, understanding, you know, all that was on the line for him was key, because I've obviously seen how much hard work, not only over this past year but previous years that had passed, to see how much, you know, effort he'd put into all his training, being like diligent to everything that he did. So just to kind of see it all pay off. Everyone kind of thinks that one moment like dictates everything, but I think it's the many little things that you do on a day-to-day basis leading up to that one moment. And so I think he was able to achieve what he could achieve because of the little things that he'd done in the past. And so it was just awesome that it all happened here, when I was here, when the team was, you know, it was just such an awesome experience. So I was happy to be part of it.
How'd you celebrate? How'd you guys celebrate?
By jumping on a flight, I think. I think it was quick out of here. I can't really remember.
Yeah. I think there's another tournament next week, and that's the thing about life and especially golf. You know, there's always a carrot dangling in front of you. It's like you have the most amazing week, but there's something next week. You know, so really, there was a couple of moments, like, I'll never forget calling my wife after that, where she watched it and we're both in tears, like, about what had just happened. And then from there, it was like, right, next week's Miami, next week's the team thing. I want to be the very best I can for my team, and you kind of prepare for that. It was, yeah, it's just weird like that, where there's always something, and it never fully satisfied. It's like you win a tournament, now the next week you have to justify your win, and then you do all that. Well, you got to justify. It's just weird. Like, that's kind of this life that we live in.
Never ending.
And Kieran, I wanted to ask you, we talked a little bit about this in Vegas, but just about your power off the tee. Scott told me that you had an injury in college, and that helped maybe fuel some of your power. Can you talk about that development while you were in college?
Yeah. Growing up, I
used to be shorter than me. Didn't like that, so he changed, and it's flipped a little bit, but
just a little
we'll see.
bit. Yeah, I was never obviously the biggest person growing up, and so it was never really a strength of my game. And I'll never forget, I was in college, and I kept going through the same cycle of feeling sore, getting injured, sitting out a couple of weeks and repeating the same process. To eventually came to a point where one of the guys sat me down and he says, "You do know this? There's a mindset that plays into this." He says, "You can mope about it and feel like you're injured 24/7 and stick in that kind of lifestyle, or you can do something about it and wake up one day with a positivity that this can be all healed and you can get better." And so I had a little lower back injury, but hearing those words really kind of motivated me. And he was like, "You just got to go into the gym and change the mindset." And so I think I became a little bit too much of a freak, where I loved going to the gym way too much, and we had a good group of guys around us that challenged each other, maybe a little too much at times, but we just enjoyed the experience of being in college, having that close-knit group of people. But, as you kind of hinted on there, the fact that something was so negative back in the day, this is probably 7-8 years ago, that probably looked at maybe putting a damper on my career, if even having a career at all, is now kind of flipped the script and has given me a strength week in, week out. And so I'm just fortunate for the opportunity that people are good at what they do, lean on people. And so I was able to lean on that guy back then, who helped me change my mindset of, I don't really need to be mopey and sad about this 24/7. I can actually do something about it, and it's in my hands. And so the mindset shifted, and I guess I like the gym in the meantime. So,
well, I was going to ask you about. I think there was a drive in Vegas on the final round that was like 177 yards. If that was your regular drive, I think you'd be leading. You'd be leading the league in driving distance. What happened on that drive for one thing, and then just how is it to kind of compare yourself to some of the really big bombers out here? Obviously, Bryson, Woofy, those guys.
Are you sure you got the right brother here? Maybe.
Are we talking about you?
That's what I want to know.
Kieran?
Yeah, I mean, I think there was a K Vincent next to that name. I don't think there's many S Vincents leading the leaderboard on that side.
They get us confused all the time. So,
but no, obviously these guys hit it so far, but I think what separates them as being some of the best in the world is they understand their strength and they use it effectively. Coming out of college, I was kind of a little bit willy-nilly, knowing that I could hit far, so I just kind of pulled driver wherever I could. But now working with a great guy in Dave Phillips, he's told me, hey, you got to understand that it's a weapon when it needs to be a weapon, but you also need to understand when to dial it back. And so, yeah, I'm fortunate that I can get out there if I needed to get out there. But just adapting and being on this tour and seeing how some of the best do in the world, it's not something that you need to push out on every single hole. And so, just fortunate that we do have it in the tank if we need it.
Thanks.
Other English questions? Joy?
Yeah, I've got one question for Scott and one question for Kieran. Scott, you might not admit it now, but last year when we were talking in Singapore, where you again played fantastic golf, you said that Kieran is actually more talented than you. But the question is, was that supposed to be a secret?
What's your name again? Next question, please.
Are you surprised how fast he has risen right within that 1.5 years period?
Honestly, no. I think being 5 years older, you see a few things earlier than maybe he did, and obviously you can see the level that he's at and maybe the level some of the top players are at, and it's very easy to see how he would fit into that. And to me, it doesn't surprise me one bit. I think there's many qualities about Kieran that fit perfectly into this level of golf. And the amazing thing is he's still young, and he's got so so many years ahead of him, and what he can learn and how he can use that going forward is just really, it's up to him. And yeah, I like I said, you know, I do feel like the level of talent, that's not to discredit anything that he's done, because he has done a lot, but I just think the potential there is really, really high, and that's not to put pressure on him, it's just the way it is, and he's just got to go about his business the way that he does. I think if you look at us, we're close, but we're very different in our approaches. So yeah, he's just got to continue to believe in his processes that he's developing over these next few years and months, and really stick and hold true to that, and I think he'll be just fine.
Awesome. Kieran, how is it being part of team of Jon Rahm, probably the best player in the world right now? What have you learned in these 2 weeks that you have been together for the 2 tournaments? What kind of things has he spoken to you guys? Being a new team as well.
Yeah. He's, I think I've mentioned this many, many times, but he's such a good guy, not only on the golf course, but off. You know, it's not just like full John and then you don't see John at all. Like, John's such a great guy off the golf course, which I think makes him, you know, such a great guy to look up to for a lot of youngsters. And so obviously he can dial it on the golf course, and we've seen it many, many times, but I think what like struck me a lot was what would happen off the golf course. You know, like a simple text like, hey, I'm going down to breakfast, like, anyone want to join? You know, when I was signing up, I didn't think that was going to be a possibility. And so, you know, just the closeness, the really relationalness of John, I think's what's kind of separated like him. You know, I think he's so good to want to talk about anything and everything, share a little bit of insight of, you know, what's kind of got him to here, but also just really kind of be alongside you and be your friend, knowing that, you know, if you're in a dark place, you need some help, like, he's going to help you. And so I think that's just really a great thing to idolize, not only just from him, but also from the rest of the guys. Like, obviously Caleb is a youngster, but he brings so much to the team as well. And then obviously Tyrrell's Tyrrell. I mean, he's fun, he's energetic, he brings a newness to the team. So I think the whole team dynamic just works super well. And so very fortunate to find myself in that situation.
One last question to both of you. Who has got better hair?
Why are you asking us? Why don't you tell us? Depends what you like, huh?
Apples and oranges over here.
We'll do a few questions in Arabic, and Yassine will translate them.
I can translate.
السلام عليكم. علي العمري، الشرق الأوسط. مشاركتكم كأخوين هنا في السعودية أو في مختلف أنحاء العالم، ما هو الإلهام أو الرسالة التي يمكن أن توصلوها للعالم بشكل عام؟
Hi Scott, hi Kieran. This is Ali from Sharq al-Awsat. He welcomes you guys to the kingdom, and he's asking you, like, being brothers, growing up, did you guys ever think one day that you'll be playing in 1-2 together, touring the world, and playing professional golf against the best in the world?
Oh my God. Send it, Brie.
Sure. Did we want it to be a reality? Yes. Did we think it was going to happen? Possibly. But I don't think, you know, everyone has these big dreams and these big aspirations, and it's just about finding out the small little things that can help you get there. And so we're very fortunate enough that we had a lot of people around us to surround us and give us the good insight that we needed. But I think it was just kind of very lucky, very thankful, very, I don't know, there's a lot of adjectives that you can put in there to describe what the journey has taken over the past, you know, many years to get to here. But I think we're just grateful for the opportunity and just grateful for where we were and what we're doing today, you know, being able to use this platform as brothers together.
Would you like me to answer as well?
If you want to add something.
Sure. Yeah, I kind of like what I said a little bit earlier, but it was a dream. You know, you get to dream big dreams, and you never really know. of course, it's a reality now, and looking back, it's like, wow, how did this all happen? Was it my doing? Was it his doing? Was it someone else's doing? You know, we're in a very religious part of the world, and that plays a big part in my life. And I do believe that there's higher powers, higher power, and I think that played a huge part in where we are today. And so, like I said, you know, we're just trying to be the best people that we can be, and this just so happens to be golf for us, and just amazing how we get to do that together on a tour like this in Saudi Arabia, of all places. Just very special and very cool.
Thank you, guys.
السلام عليكم. وليد المالكي قناة السعودية. طبعا ما شاء الله تبارك الله، بحكم انه الشبه الكبير بين الاثنين الاخوان، انا حتجاوز وكثير من زملائي سالوا عن العائله الجميله، فانا حتجاوز موضوع العائله والجينات. حسالكم على ملعب رويال جرينز، مشاركتكم فيه كانت من وقت قريب، كيف تشوفوا التجهيزات في الملعب، استعداده لاحتضان بطوله عالميه بهذا الحجم؟ هذا السؤال الاول.
This is Walid Al-Malki from the Saudi channel, and he welcomes you guys to the kingdom as well. And he says, like, you've been asked a lot of questions about, you know, like the brothers part. So I'm just gonna ask you guys about Royal Greens, your preparations, and how did it feel out there? You know, like you've been maybe Scott, like recently here in the previous event, and now it's a different time of the year. The weather's a little bit different, but can you tell us a little bit more about how did it feel out there?
Yeah, thank you for welcoming us. Yeah, I've been very fortunate that this is probably my third or fourth time coming to play here, and we've got to play it at different times a year, and I definitely prefer this time of year. It's a little bit cooler. We like that. The wind is still strong. Which again is great, because it just creates a different level of difficulty that, you know, we get to practice in. Yeah, the course is playing great. I think it's changed so much since the beginning of the week. It felt a little bit softer, and the greens were a little bit slow, and today I definitely noticed that they felt a lot quicker, and like they were firming up and speeding up. So you can see the course changing as the week's going on, which is kind of what we expected. But yeah, it's a wonderful place to come and play golf. It's still mind-blowing how they can have such a good golf course in this part of the world. You know, without coming here, what your expectations of where you're going, you're like, it's just going to be sand everywhere and there's nothing, and you come here and it's some of the best-looking grasses in the world. Yeah, just the whole experience is really cool. The food and everything that we do while we're here is really cool. So yeah, I've really enjoyed coming here. I think it makes me a better player. And yeah, I look forward to the challenge that this week's going to bring.
Kieran, do you want to add anything about Royal Greens and being out there and playing some rounds?
I mean, you also got to factor in the Red Sea. I mean, standing on 16T, I think I kind of get awestruck every single time I'm out there. Just being able to like take that all in. It's not every day that you get to see that view, so it's pretty spectacular. But Royal Greens itself, I think it's an awesome course. Yeah, as Scott said, the wind's going to play obviously a bit of a factor, but at the same time, I think it's so unique to have such a prestigious course out here, and yeah, just obviously grateful for this opportunity to be able to come out here and showcase what we've been practicing over the last couple of weeks and months for.
وليد حاب تضيف أي إضافة؟
بس سؤال بسيط. احنا الآن تقريبا في منتصف فصل الشتاء، الأجواء في جدة معتدلة. لو كان في جولة قريبة في الوقت من جولة جدة، اختلاف الأجواء هل يأثر على لعبكم، وكيف حتكون الجولة هذه من وجهة نظرك إذا كنت لعبت في أجواء مختلفة من فترة بسيطة؟
The second part of the question, Walid, would like to hear from you, Scott, in terms of obviously throughout the year you guys play in different places, different courses, different weathers. How is it easy for you guys to just adapt to different situations, and how will it be difficult for you guys in Royal Greens in the coming 3 days to perform compared to what you guys did in the previous event?
Yeah, I think the word you use there, which is something that I think is what I'm trying to get better at, is adapting. You know, with golf, you just never know what's going to happen, so you're always having to adapt, as well as in life. You know, things get thrown at you from different directions, and so adapting is a key part of just doing life. And with golf, like even more so, there's so many different lies and winds and grasses and course conditions and weather, and so you're always having to do that. And the great thing about LIV Golf is that you start on Friday, so you get an extra day of practice if you want to use, or you can take it as rest. There's so many different ways to get prepared for a tournament. So yeah, we've been here since Monday, so we've got to spend a good quality amount of time on the golf course just adapting, getting used to what is going to be required and the shots that we think we're going to need, and to work on that. So yeah, we get a few days to do that, and that's what we do to the best of our abilities. And some weeks it works amazing, some weeks it doesn't. Yeah, we'll see what happens this week.
Thank you. أي إضافة أخوان؟ بلال. I think this is our last question.
السلام عليكم. بلال عظم صحيفة سعودي جازيت عكاظ. أبغى أسألهم عن استعداداتهم في ظل الأجواء المعتدلة جدا، وكيف متهيئين أنهم يدخلوا هذا المود بشكل سريع، خاصة أنها في دولة عربية.
This is Bilal from Saudi Gazette and Okaz newspapers. He would like to hear from both of you, Scott and Kieran, about the one factor you think, apart from, of course, the weather, because we can see it and we can feel it, but the one factor in your play that is going to make you to perform well in the coming days.
You know what that is yet? It might be the coffee, you know. It might be the coffee. I tell you what, best coffee in the world right here. Thank you. Thank you, Brew 92. Big shout out to you guys.
I think it may not even just be on the golf course. I think it's the mindset and being able to stay patient. I think it's the golf course that you might find yourself in a little bit of trouble as time comes, and just being able to stay patient, stay motivated, and stay positive to yourself, and knowing that you've done a lot of work out here, and just remain patient enough to know that there are going to be some birdieable holes, and see what you can do to the best of your ability. So I think it's about game planning, and as Scott was saying a little bit earlier, adapting and staying patient out there.
I'm going to say courageous. Like, are you willing to be courageous this week and take on some risks and some shots that maybe feel very uncomfortable? Are you willing to fail? You have to be courageous and willing to fail in order to take on shots. So yeah, I mean, who knows? It's a journey, right? There's so many different factors that could go into whoever's going to hoist that trophy at the end of the week. So, yeah, for me this week, that's going to be something that I'm working on, is just, can I be a little bit more courageous this week?
Thank you. ما في أي أسئلة إضافية. شكرا يا أخوان. I think with that we end our press conference. Thank you for your time, Scott and Kieran. We appreciate it and wish you all the best. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.